greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. So a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'm a raincoat with the plastic.
How's it going, meatheads? I'm back with you for another video to pump up your day with some motorcycle content, and we are currently on the wife's Kawasaki Z400. I rode it to work today instead of the bike because my bike is in the shop getting a dyno tune and rear tire, so I thought I'd take my wife's bike to work, and God, I love filling this thing up. Granted, I fill it up with half a tank, so it's not accurate, but when you can top off your tank for under 15 bucks again, with last summer with the gas prices, where you could fill up for 14 bucks, 15 bucks, 16 bucks in a 6-gallon tank on 91, whereas now I just filled up for 91 and it was $5.69 a gallon. Ridiculous. Her bike still scoots. I think that I have just a little bit that I've gotten on it now since I filled it up. I think the gas in it was kind of a little raunchy because it seems now that all of a sudden it's got like a little bit extra pep in its step, and it's like, son of a bitch, dude, we got some good gas now. Uh-oh, what's the fuzz? Everybody stay cool. I'm on a sport bike. On a sport bike, I gotta be careful. I'm more likely to get pulled over now doing dumb shit. Close up the lid so you guys can actually hear me a little bit. It's kind of crazy. So going from the Harley, the Road Glide, to this, you realize how different riding is. And like, I used to ride a bike similar to this a number of years ago. I used to have a Yamaha FZ07, and I forgot how different the riding style is. Like, how inputs are different. Because my bike, you know, is much more like I'm sitting upright, not leaned over at all. There's not any weight on my wrists at all. And when I put inputs into the bars to turn or to lean, I have more leverage, right? I'm using more of like my upper body to push myself into a corner. Whereas in this kind of a riding position, I am very much so like, I feel like I have to use more of my body to put myself into a lean. It's still some input on the bars, but it's just not the same kind of input, or the same level of input. Doesn't yield the same results as it does on the Road Glide. Now granted, I have taller bars on my Road Glide, so that does change things up a bit as well, but it's definitely a trip to the past for me to hop on the road or hop on the Z400 and try and throw it around in corners, and I'm like, man, I am not leaning this much at all. And I'm like, I think it's because I'm using so much more of my upper body, and it doesn't yield the same results as it does on the Road Glide. But damn, this bike scoots though. Like, you know, I'll say that it does rev a lot higher. Like 7,000, I'm past the rev limit of my Road Glide, whereas this is just like, this is the cruising speed. Obviously the red line is at 12, so 70 miles an hour at 7,000 RPMs, man, and with this exhaust, it does kind of get a little annoying after a while, I'll admit, but it's relatively comfortable. I know it kind of sounds like I'm doing a review, I guess, on this bike, but I'm not really doing a review. I'm just kind of like, these are the things that I've noticed now that I've thrown my ass on this seat a few times, and ridden it around either to work or ridden it around for fun, and also the wife is getting comfortable on it, and that's, I think, the biggest thing that Harley fails at, is a good lightweight beginner bike that somebody can really feel confident on. But she still goes 80, she still can go interstate speed. She may not like it for very long, but she's capable of doing it. So as I was saying, you know, that's one thing that Harley has yet to really figure out, is how to make a small displacement motorcycle. Because like, they made the street 500 and 750, but those bikes just never really sold or took off. And I think the biggest reason is that they weren't light enough. Like, they were small displacement, they made like ample power, but I think the 500 makes the same amount of power as this bike does, but I believe it weighs 100 pounds more. I could be wrong. I'll throw up the stats of the Z400 and the Street 500 here at this part so that we can kind of compare, but I am 99% sure that Harley is heavier, as it is usually a Harley is heavier than most other bikes in comparison. That's like the biggest thing that I've noticed, is like, on this bike it's still fun. Like, I have a Road Glide with a 107 cubic inch 1700cc motor, and I have just as much fun on this little putter as I do on my Road Glide. I can't go as far, and I'm not going to take this bike to like on a 100-mile trip or a 200-mile trip by any means. As far as like going around and like just getting around, it's so easy on this bike. Pulling a U-turn, doing slow speed maneuvers, and it's balanced, it's lightweight. Still can get up to 80 miles an hour or 90 miles an hour. I've had it close to 100 just because was curious. And the biggest thing that I love about this bike, and my wife loves about it too, is that you have to try to do something dumb. You know, the biggest thing about a beginner bike that I always put out there is that a beginner bike that is meant for somebody that has zero experience, you really, really, really have to work hard to get in trouble with. You know, I don't want to recommend a bike to somebody that has zero experience, that if they were to, you know, clutch up wrong or whatnot, or release the clutch too soon and they give it too much gas, they're going to go ass over tea kettle. Or if they just reach a fine point in the power band where all of a sudden everything just comes on, like on a 600cc sport bike, that all of a sudden they're in dangerous territory, that they're now either breaking the law or they're going too fast, they grab too much brake, and then they crash too, you know, stuff like that. This bike, you have to really be deliberately trying to do something dumb And I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean much coming from me, as I have 8 years of experience, but my wife has been out and about practicing and feeling more and more confident that to be on a bike and riding a bike herself. Every time we get done practicing and whatnot, she's like, man, I just can't wait to take it out and go and ride alongside you. Her previous bike scared her. She had a Sportster 1200, and that bike was heavy. That bike had quite a bit of power for her experience level, and it was intimidating for her. And she was, for a while, she was not really sure if she would ever feel confident enough to be able to say that she would be able to ride alongside me, you know. So the fact that she can hop on this bike and after a few short minutes be like, yeah man, I can't wait to be able to ride this to like the gym, to ride it to work if I needed to. And that's honestly what makes this bike such a great bike for somebody that's trying to learn how to ride. It's just the fact that like working the clutch is easy, understanding how much throttle to give is easy and forgiving. Somebody that I could literally have anybody come over that has zero experience on a motorcycle and I could get them riding this bike in no time and going around a parking lot or around the block or something like that and feel comfortable riding a motorcycle. Plus it's still got enough snort to it that like as an experienced rider I still actually enjoy hopping on this. It's definitely a trip to be on a sport bike and actually feel the difference in how you ride this bike versus a V-twin American bagger. Corn is coming up quick. I feel like a ninja. I feel lightweight, nimble, and like what's-ka. And again, I've been on sport bikes before. This is not my first rodeo on sport bikes. I've been on more powerful bikes before, and it's just a huge difference between Harley's mentality and Kawasaki and Honda and Yamaha and Suzuki. The thing is the brakes are good and predictable, and with ABS, you know, you're gonna have to really try again to so what I was trying to get at with the ABS is like, even if you panic brake, ABS is gonna save your ass in case you grab too much front brake, too much rear brake, so that way you're not going to like upend yourself or slide out as easy as long as you stay straight. I don't know, man. I've said this in my first ride of this bike, and I'm very happy for my wife that she found a bike that she does feel comfortable riding on, and having her throw some seat time on and practice a little bit, to hear her say that she's really excited to get to the point where she can ride a bike beside me is honestly a huge and awesome confidence booster, not only for her but for me, because I'm the one teaching her how to ride. You know, for her to feel confident enough after like a few little instructions with me that she's feeling really close to wanting to get out on the street and actually ride is awesome. And like when she tells me that I should learn to teach people or get like certified to teach people how to ride, like it's something I have considered, but I also am like, I just enjoy riding, and I don't necessarily want to. I go back and forth on the idea of teaching people outside of just friends and family, you know. Well, I think that's gonna about do it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this little ride along on the Z400. If you do like this kind of content and like motorcycles in general, please consider subscribing and liking the video. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out, hit your maxes, evade your taxes.